Hello, everyone. James Patefield here from the John T. Gorman Foundation, providing another video resource that provides a walkthrough of our 2026 Direct Services Grant Program application. So as you can see here, I'm on our website, the John T. Gorman Foundation website. And I've gotten here by clicking this handy dandy banner at the top of the page. The 2026 Direct Services Grant Program applications are accepted and open. If you click on that, it will bring you to our general information page. We've got a lot of information about eligibility, as well as some the eligibility criteria, the application instructions. I'm going to cover a lot of those materials in this video. A list of narrative application questions. If you have any questions about eligibility or fit, there's another video on this page that I highly recommend watching. And then to begin a new DSGP application, you're going to click here. For one-time access to start a new DSGP application, please click here. Now you'll notice we have two separate links here. So once you've created your application, you'll want to use the other link, which will just bring you to the portal and allow you to see not just this application, but any other applications that you have in the Blackbaud system. Blackbaud is what we use for our database on the back end of our grant making programming. So when you're brought there, it's following the correct pathway. So we'll click on this link, which will bring us to the applicant portal. And then I will bring up an actual application here so you can see and enter my login information. So after you log in with your email and or username and password, again, that process is very, very simple and straightforward. It's essentially like creating an account on any web service. After you go through that process, you'll be prompted to select your organization. So on the one hand, you'll be reminded of organizations that have applied through this portal before. So if you, again, have applied in the past with us for an invitational grant, you should see this. But otherwise, you can search this Blackbaud database for your organization. Now, this is not a screen that I control. This is mandated for us by our service provider, Blackbaud, but it's still pretty user-friendly. I'm going to walk you through the most intense version of how to set things up. So you can search by name or government tax ID number. So I'm going to say that my organization is named Test Organization. And you can see here, we have a Your Cause Test nonprofit organization. This is sort of an all-purposes test org that we've set up so that you can use this if you can't find your organization. So this is especially true for tribal governments, municipalities, school districts, or if you have a fiscal sponsor and you don't want to enter your fiscal sponsor's information in the screen, you can use this test organization. And I'm going to walk you through how to then go back and edit your information accordingly. But essentially, if that doesn't apply to you, don't worry. You can search for your organization, select it. It will display things like the address, as well as the country, and then a version of the EIN, your government tax ID. So you'll hit select at the bottom, and then this will deliver you into this forking questionnaire that we've set up. This will direct you to the appropriate DSGP application for your request. It's very important that you select either general operating or program project support because they are separate applications. There's some variation in the questions that are asked. We're going to, in this instance, for the purposes of testing this and showing you all, we're going to select Program Project Support. And then we'll hit Submit. That will then direct you to the Program uh, program project application. And you can start a new application there. It allows you again to copy previously submitted applications. So probably won't be relevant for you this year, but may be relevant for you in future years. Again, if you're successful, why recreate the wheel? You can copy from a previous application and update facts and figures as needed. So you'll start a new application. And then if you were one of those tribal, municipal, government agencies, school districts that had to enter this test organization earlier, that here's where you would change it and create a new organization to match your needs. So you would go update organization, search organizations, search, let's name our organization, no name. And then as there is a no name foundation. That's fun. But you could then go to add organization here down at the bottom of the screen. Click on that. And then you'll be prompted through a series of menus that will allow you to register, create essentially a new organization. So you would then select location. You could enter a government tax ID number of not applicable or any number of digits of random order and select a new organization that reflects your address, your relevant information. So I'm going to cancel this just for the purposes of walking you through everything. So this before you begin page is really going to contain a lot of helpful information. It reiterates a lot of stuff that you've seen on the DSGP webpage, but it's always useful to see it again and read it. And it also has links to the instructions and eligibility requirements, and also my contact info. So please feel free again to reach out if you have questions. You'll see at the bottom here, we have a bunch of helpful tips set up. So important to know, your work saves automatically. You don't have to go through the process of hitting the save button regularly. You'll see this saved button at the bottom left, or alternatively, you'll see like a red pop-up up here in the top right saying we could not save the application, and that means something has gone wrong and you should contact me. But ideally, you won't see that. So you'll see that your work saves automatically at regular intervals. However, we all know that web applications can and do time out after periods of use. So we strongly encourage you in the strongest possible terms to cut and paste your narrative responses from a word processing application, so Word, Google Docs, to ensure that work isn't lost should there be an internet connectivity glitch. Another great part of this is that we give you all the questions. I have made a separate sheet on the DSGP site that has all of the narrative questions. So you can take that, take your time with it. Don't feel like you're under the gun of filling this out under any sort of time pressure. We've removed all character or word count limits on those fields, so you don't need to feel like you need to arbitrarily cut out words of what I know personally are often very finely tuned and finely honed things like mission statements, for instance. We don't want you to have to jump through hoops to complete our application. So yeah, copy and paste is needed. Limit your use of bullets and other formatting. They can sometimes mess up the way in which this system pulls data into our database. Please ensure that only numbers are entered into currency fields. I'm pretty sure the system won't actually even let you enter dollar signs or commas, but if it does, don't enter it. Again, it could mess up the retrieval of your data. You should add no reply at yourcause.com to your safe senders list in your email so that you can receive system communications. So for instance, after you hit sign and submit on this, and have completed all of the necessary fields, you will get an automated email from the system saying you've successfully submitted. We'll be in touch with further details as we get them, and I can actually send out alerts through that system which you might receive periodically. So just good to have that in hand. And also, you can then bring that to me and say, I submitted my application, and I filled out this thing wrong, but I don't want to go and submit a whole new application again. Can we amend this one field? And I will say, of course, no problem. And it will go through things like that. And then when attaching required documents, just make sure you click on the upload button after you choose each file. The system will prompt you again. It won't let you proceed if you haven't uploaded required documents. And then you can see there are handy dandy tabs to help you navigate through each section of the application. So in organization information, you'll be prompted to enter your mission statement. Important to note that if you have a fiscal sponsor, you will be asked further down this page to enter information regarding your fiscal sponsor, but we want to hear your mission statement, not your fiscal sponsor's mission statement. You'll enter your organization's doing business as name if applicable. If you don't have a DBA, just leave this field blank. And then this field is especially important, which is why it's required. Which of the following best describes your organization? A 501c3 nonprofit, a consultancy, an organization with a fiscal sponsor, a town or city government or a municipal agency, or a tribal government. You would select that field, a public school or school district. By selecting these different fields, you have different options through the application. There's conditional logic at work. So just make sure you're paying attention to that field. So for instance, if you're a public school, it will prompt you to not have to enter organizational financial information that isn't really applicable to you. But it will prompt you to enter a head agency letter, which is something, or a head of school letter, which is something that we require. Basically, your principal or head of school saying, yes, I'm ready to accept these funds. This application is happening with my knowledge, etc. And then we ask for some background information in terms of you and or your fiscal sponsor. So total operating budget for this fiscal year. This gives us a sense of when your fiscal year ends. Please indicate the county or counties your organization serves. You can choose up to 4 of these. If you work in more than 4 counties, please select statewide. And then of the counties you selected above, we then ask which is the primary county that your organization serves. So again, just there's no secret logic to this. We're just trying to collect information so that we can report after the fact about our applicant pool and our recipient pool. And then you'll notice here, there's the next button and the sign and submit button. I wish that the next button was highlighted in the dark blue and not the sign and submit button. But not to worry, if I accidentally hit the sign and submit button and I haven't completed the application, it will prompt me that I've missed a whole bunch of fields. And will say, this form is invalid, please fix the error. So you can't accidentally submit the form before it's complete, which is great. And also a little annoying because now these red exclamation points come up everywhere, but it's a good thing. We're not letting you fill it out and submit it prematurely. Organizational contacts, we ask that you indicate who should be the primary contact for this request, i.e. you person who is filling out this form. So the person who's available to answer questions related to the application materials. But then we also ask for the information of the authorized signer for any money awarded. So the president/CEO or executive director of your nonprofit or your fiscal sponsor. So to navigate this field, you just have to hit add new, enter a name, first name, last name, email address, work phone, and contact title. Contact titles, very, very helpful for us. And then there's this handy dandy checkbox up top saying, is this the primary contact for this request? So then continuing right on through, we'll go to your request. And you can see sometimes as you're going through the application, depending on your screen size, the system might accidentally drop one of these tabs. Where it's hiding is just under more here. So you can see documentation and signature is the final tab in the application. It's just hiding out under more. It hasn't disappeared. So for this, again, all of these questions are located in a document that is on the DSGP page. Print it out, discuss it with your team, think through how to make the best answer. I encourage you to do that. Uh, so request information, you've got the request title, what you're calling it, a brief description of the request. I do mean brief. Again, no character or word limits, but this is not the place to necessarily go into a ton of detail, but to briefly, in a short paragraph, describe what the request is doing. The amount you request, again, between 5 and 30,000 US dollars. Approximately how many individuals do you estimate being able to serve as a result of this grant request being funded? Again, this is your best guess, an estimate. Uh, Please do not lose sleep over the exactitude of this number. But it is very helpful for us to know the impact of this program and the impact of the organizations that apply for it. So that's just the guidance I would offer on that field. Again, county or counties, your request will benefit. So again, this is a program project application. That might be different from your primary county that your organization normally serves. So for instance, if you're in Cumberland County, but this work is really going to take place in Androscoggin, this is the place to indicate that. And same thing again with the primary county this request will affect. Do you anticipate that the funds you're requesting will be used as a match or leverage to other sources of revenue? Most of the time, this will be no for DSGP, but I would say like if you have something specific like a matching grant or a matching donation, that is helpful for us to know. But otherwise, you can just put no for that option. And then our request narrative, we've shortened somewhat and simplified so that, again, we can keep our application as simple as possible for both you and our evaluation team. Our reviewers, want to get to what is the most helpful piece of information about this request. So the overall purpose and goal of the proposal, what is the problem you're trying to address? Please, if possible, use data to support your description. The next question, the activities that your organization is undertaking. So to address that problem. So what activities, if funded, would your organization undertake to address this problem? The population served. So the demographics, the geography of the population you serve. Are there any especially vulnerable or hard to reach groups in your population? And capacity. So we're talking about organizational capacity here. So your organization's experience working in this area and with this population. What's your current level of capacity in terms of your financial resources, your staff resources, volunteers to do this work? And then you can also include a description of how foundation funding will maintain or enhance that capacity. So, if we have this amount of funding to do ABC, that means that staff or financial resources can then be allocated elsewhere for this other work. It can be extremely helpful for us to have that level of detail. And here again, program project budget. This will look slightly different if you have a general operating request, but it will actually be simpler. If you have a program project application, you'll download our grant budget form. It's very straightforward. It's an Excel doc. And you just have to basically balance what you're requesting versus what you're spending. And it walks you through the whole process. It's very straightforward. And then you also have fields that reiterate that information here. So amount requested, project income, direct expenses, indirect or administrative expenses. And then you also will have you will also have, at this point, the option to submit additional documentation. And in fact, we do require several pieces of documentation. Financial statement, I wanted to talk about this in detail. So we ask for, ideally, audited financials. We know that every organization does not have the budget or the capacity to have audited financials. That is totally fine. If you are submitting internal unaudited financials, we just ask that you include a balance sheet, otherwise known as a statement of financial position, and a profit and loss statement, which is also known as a statement of activities. And those should be for a full fiscal year, your most recent full fiscal year. So if your fiscal year runs from July 1 to June 30, it won't be this current one, 25, 26. It will be 24, 25, because it would be July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025. And those should be, again, as long as it contains a statement of activities and a statement of financial position, we are good to go. It does not need to be audited, but audited financials are great, and they make my job easier in terms of conducting financial due diligence. We need a list of your board of directors. This should be fairly straightforward. It could be a Word doc. That's okay. If you are again, a municipal, tribal agency, or a government agency or a school, you can insert the board of directors of your agency, any governance for the agency, or the school board. This can be pretty flexible. You'll upload a copy of your current operating budget. So again, this is for your current fiscal year. So using the earlier example of July 1 to June 30, this would be July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026. So a full fiscal year. This is just about us getting a sense of how you are projecting where your money is coming from, how you're going to spend it for this year. It gives us a sense of the overall health of your organization. And then optional upload here if you have additional materials you'd like to amend. And then a signature field. You fill that out, sign and submit, and then you should be good to go. So I know that was really detailed. Thank you for sticking with me if you're still watching this. And if you're still watching this and you have questions, again, I cannot stress enough. Please email me if you want an immediate response. And then if you can wait a little bit more, you think it's a more detailed conversation that we need to have, feel free to set up a time to chat. Again, that availability does tend to fill up pretty quickly during DSGP open application season. But thank you so much for the work that you do to help Maine people. Thanks for your interest in this program, and thanks for listening to me talk. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks again.